Roller coaster layouts can often be the recipe for a truly world-class attraction. Rather than focusing on the execution and pacing, since this would otherwise mostly be a top 15 overall coasters in the world list, I want to take a look at the sequencing. What elements does a coaster combine, and is it diverse? That's what I'll be looking at for determining the top 15 best coaster layouts in the world. Because this doesn't exactly revolve around performance and instead general elements, I will allow any coaster to be on this list, not just ones I have ridden. Though I will not be featuring any coasters still under construction, because if I were, Phonics at Fairweb Summerland, Toutaltus at Park Asterix, Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and Airy Force 1 at Fun Spot Atlanta would have made this list. Now those are the big three rules I'm following, so all I really have left to say is I'd appreciate it if you could do me the favor of liking and subscribing down below. Also, don't forget to leave a comment after watching with any layouts I may have potentially missed. With that being said, these are the top 15 best coaster layouts in the world. Number 15, Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England. While I find the layout to be virtually perfect in the first half, the second is a tad bit of a drawback for Superman. In my opinion, it appears a little meandery, and I can confirm after riding, even though this isn't necessarily about execution, that it does feel this way quite a bit. But the out and back portion of the layout must be reiterated with the back-to-back camelbacks, fast overbank, and more intense camelbacks. A lot of people say this is one of the best layouts ever created, and I can definitely understand where they're coming from. Number 14, Hakuge at Nagashima Spa Land in Japan. While very few of this coaster's elements are unique for an RMC, the company did at least take the best of what they've got and put it in this incredible order. The positioning of it all confirms elite pacing, and in turn the sequencing is godlike. Amongst all options I was considering, Hakuge is likely the best roller coaster layout in all of Japan. Number 13, Lek Coaster at Legendia in Poland. One of Vekoma's first modern thrill coasters really showed us what direction the company was heading, because this layout is insane. You have a couple inversions that could possibly be some of the best in the world, like that reverse sidewinder and corkscrew threading the station. Then there's a mixed match of camelbacks, low to the ground outer banked hills, and various other airtime sequences. The combination of airtime potential and inversions make this layout absolutely perfect for what it is. Number 12, Python and Bamboo Forest at Nanchang Sunac Land in China. All of you like to praise the GCIs in America, but have you seen the ones in China? The first making the list has a first half including large-scale hills and turns, but the ride kicks into high gear once it starts utilizing the terrain. The second you start declining the hill the coaster was built around, Python and Bamboo Forest starts blazing through its course. The sequence of elements at the end is non-stop ejector hills and quick transitions, making the diversity between both halves equal a flawless wooden coaster layout. Number 11, Fury 325 at Carowinds. This ride makes the list because it takes the other B&M Giga layouts and makes them even better. This is the only one with a bunch of low-to-the-ground high-speed turns, which are easily the highlight of the whole layout. But even then, the higher elements are perfection, like that first drop, turn, and treble clef. I personally don't think B&M can improve this layout further, which is why it's the only one of their coasters to make this list. Number 10, Jurassic World Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure. Whenever I think about this layout, I wonder if they could have even made it any better. The first half is going a bit slower than the second, but for the purpose of theming, so it makes sense. Even then, there are surprise airtime moments all over the place, making the elements even better than how they appear on paper. The second half, on the other hand, is crazy and where the ride puts the foot on the gas. The combination of incredible airtime, both sustain and quick pops, with inversions that are again both sustain and then rapid, is unreal. Out of all the coasters on this list, I think Velocicoasters is for sure one of the most diverse. Number 9, Voyage at Holiday World. This layout is universally loved for a reason and is practically the sole reason Voyage is such an incredible ride. You start with massive camelbacks, but rather than many other out and back coasters, there's no speed that's lost with Voyage. Even more so, there's a whole twister section in the middle of the ride that's almost unheard of on other rides like this. The reason that's able to happen is because Voyage is built beautifully into its terrain. Particularly on the return leg, you go further down a hill, increasing the ride's sense of speed and its turns and airtime hills. It's no wonder people love this ride so much, because this might be the best wooden coaster layout in the country, and one of the best in the world also. Number 8, DC Rivals HyperCoaster at Warner Brothers Movie World in Australia. Looking at the elements and looking at the fact that it's possible to take them backwards, this is easily one of the most well-rounded layouts in the world. It has exactly what you could want in an elite hypercoaster, many airtime hills in the first half, low-to-the-ground hills in the second half, and an inverted top hat with plenty of whip splitting it up. It's pretty unbelievable to me that Australia's first and only hypercoaster turned out to be arguably the best one in the world because of its layout. Number 7, Conda at Walibi, Belgium. At first glance, this might look like your typical hypercoaster layout, but only with some spice thrown into it. The drop is twisted, the second camelback is outward banked, the Cobra Roll is the only non-inverting variant in the world, and the second half is sequenced to perfection. Even if this ride isn't quite as good as what we thought it would be, god damn, this layout is one of the best ever conceived. Number 6, Lightning Rod at Dollywood. It's at this point in the list where the layouts become so good it's not even funny. The majority of Lightning Rod's course can only be seen on-ride as it's located on the other end of this large hill in the Smoky Mountains. Once that launch takes you over to the other side, you are treated to the best terrain-driven elements it could have possibly included. The way you gain speed at random points, appear higher at others, and can't seem to tell where you are is amazing. Plus that quad down utilizing the hill is an unbelievable touch to an already perfect layout. I really don't know how it would be possible, but if they somehow made this a bit longer, I think it actually could be number 1 on the list. Number 5, Wood Coaster at Night Valley in China. This is GCI's best coaster to date, and this is only possible because of the layout. You start by going up this absolutely massive lift hill to the top of a hill by which you navigate a little bit of speed and then fall all the way down the hill. This is where the ride starts to go unnaturally fast through GCI's finest turns and transitions, all while you're on the side of this hill in an unreal terrain. No words I can use can really describe this layout, but hopefully you all know by now that this is possibly the best on any wooden coaster in the world. Number 4, Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. When Mean Street closed in 2016, I think we all knew what was coming next. All we didn't know was how big Cedar Point were going to make this RMC, but now that it's been open for a couple years and we've adjusted to the layout, I don't think they could have made it better. The first half has these huge camelbacks and inversions, whereas the second half has these much smaller and powerful elements weaving in and around the structure. The only critique I could think of for this layout is that it is a bit repetitive when you get to the second half, but when your elements are this good, I don't think repetitiveness is a drawback at all. Therefore, I think this is one of the greatest coaster layouts ever simply because of its never-ending series of airtime in all sorts of different sizes. Number 3, Ride to Happiness at Plopsaland de Panne in Belgium. If you thought Time Traveler's layout was amazing, just wait until you see Ride to Happiness. This maximizes the potential intensity of Mach's Extreme Spinner model and makes it unbelievably disorienting. The launches have faster spinning, the airtime is more pronounced, and the inversions are crazy from what I've heard. All of this and more is why this is one of my most anticipated coasters in Europe this summer. Number 2, Zadra at Energylandia. RMC's tallest and fastest coaster uses its scale to its advantage all the way. Its layout was so incredibly close to being number 1 because of how its elements are positioned in the layout, which in turn causes the pacing to be absurd. Plus, I can't say enough good things about the sequencing, which is crazy because I haven't even ridden this coaster yet. It's just one of those rides that you know is going to pack a ridiculous punch. Even though this isn't about execution, I think this ride's unbelievable layout and how it runs through that layout could make it a possible new favorite coaster when I ride it this summer. And coming in at number 1 is Expedition GeForce at Holiday Park in Germany. Taking the top spot for the best layout is what Intamin themselves consider to be their very own masterpiece. Seeing as it's older, it's not as unique as some of these others, which is why I think this ranking is going to be kind of subjective, but nonetheless, it's hard to believe it's real. It has big and small airtime hills sandwiched between one of the most incredible drops and overbanks in the world. The way they get increasingly smaller throughout the ride makes the pacing perfect, but even without the pacing, this ride is just unbelievable. So with that being said, those were just 15 of what I'd consider to be the best coaster layouts in the world. There were so many that were so close to making the cut and others that I maybe left out. So what I'd like you to do now is to comment what layouts you think also had the potential to make this list. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye guys.